Lindsey Graham is having a tough time because it turns out his Democratic opponent has outraised him so much that Graham is now floating the idea of possibly investigating where the money came from. Now, he doesn't want to look into big donors. Lindsey Graham is confused about this influx of small dollar donations flowing into the campaign of Democratic challenger Jaime Harrison. And so Graham has seen the tsunami of small dollar donors, and he wants to possibly investigate ActBlue because he thinks that maybe there might be some foreign money flowing into this campaign. It's unbelievable. Here's what he says. Where's all this money coming from, ActBlue coming from? That's verbatim what he said. How easy would it be to just have a bunch of prepaid credit cards, some of these shadowy figures out there running ads? Is there any foreign influence afoot? I mean, it's just, no, look, don't be delusional, people don't like you. He is a liar. He is not a man of his word, as we learned with what happened to Merrick Garland and then what later happened when he helped to speed the confirmation proceedings for Amy Coney Barrett. He went from absolutely despising Donald Trump to immediately licking his boots as soon as he was elected. People don't respect you. That's the reason why you're seeing all of these donors from across the country donate to Jaime Harrison, your Democratic opponent, through ActBlue, which is basically an infrastructure that provides an avenue for fundraising for Democratic challengers. He also says, where is all this money coming from? You don't have to report it if it's below $200, he added, referring to campaign finance rules that don't require public reporting of individuals who give less than $200. When this election is over with, I hope there will be a sitting down and finding out, okay, how do we control this? It just seems to be an endless spiral. And just to give you guys the numbers, Jaime Harrison raised $57 million in the third quarter alone. Damn. Senator Lindsey Graham, though, 28 million. People don't like him. No money for you. John.
Who gave Lindsey Graham $28 million? God, what a waste of money. The only thing that'll make it more waste is obviously if Lindsey Graham loses, which I hope is what happens. I look at this story a little bit differently. I agree that he's pathetic. I will always agree with that, Anna. It's true, and he's just getting even more whiny now. But this is like the ultimate financial example of the #1 rule of being a conservative. You don't care about something until it directly impacts you.
Totally.
Oh, so this is the first you've ever heard of money in a political campaign that bothers you. It was fine. It was peaches and cream before. No, it was bad before. It was really bad before. And it was bad in ways that even now that you're having this sort of awakening, you still don't seem to get. The problem isn't just shadowy figures. Brightly lit figures are a problem as well. All of these corporations are openly giving money to both politicians and PACs, and that's a problem. It being hidden, hypothetically, would be a little bit worse because it's harder to track, but it's the influence, not just the knowledge of the influence, that's the problem. And I would be a little bit more optimistic if I felt like this was genuine, like he's actually worried about this. He's gonna start talking to other Republicans and they're gonna change their stance on it. But if he survives, if he beats Jaime Harrison by 2 points or something, is he still gonna be bothered by campaign finance in December?
No.
At this point, I really doubt that that's the truth. If not, then fine, let's team up. Me and Lindsey Graham, we'll start talking about campaign finance, we'll do something about it. I just don't see that happening.
No, John, I mean, you're obviously correct. I mean, he has no problem with campaign financing. He doesn't have a problem with campaign financing in the current re-election campaign that he's involved in. He's only worried about it when it comes to small dollar donors who are helping to fund Jaime Harrison's campaign because that's his challenger. In fact, during this re-election campaign, Lindsey Graham was running around begging people for money, and we have receipts. Let's watch.
My opponent will raise almost $100 million, Ainsley, in the state of South Carolina.
I'm getting outraised 3-1, outspent 4-1. If you want to help me fight back, go to lindseygraham.com, $5 or $10.
He raised $6 million from the time Justice Ginsburg passed away within 72 hours.
Get into the game. They're killing us financially. I'm in South Carolina, not exactly a liberal state. My opponent's going to raise $80 million. I need conservatives to help me. You need to help us all.
But I'm being killed financially. This money is because they hate my guts.
I'm getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, go ahead.
LindseyGraham.com, help me. They're killing me money-wise. Help me. You did last week. Help me again. Help me. Help me. Help us all. Help me. Help me. Help me again.
Help me again.
Help me again. Help me. No, but John, he specifically wants to look into small dollar donors. Like, his issue isn't multinational corporations pouring money into campaigns. He's had no problem with money in politics in the past. And what's incredible about this is how it's not just Lindsey Graham. Like, he's at the heart of this story because you see that disparity in funding between the Democratic challenger and Lindsey Graham. But all of a sudden you have all these Republican senators like coming out of the shadows and they're like, "Ooh, yeah, money in politics, we don't like that." No, you love that. What are you talking about? You don't like that. First, let me clear up any type of smear campaign that might be used by Republicans toward ActBlue. So a review of Harrison's campaign fundraising report filed with the FEC shows that he does actually report contributions as small as $5 from ActBlue, but the data on file doesn't reveal the name or address of individuals making the gift as would be reported for a donation over $200. So I mentioned that because Lindsey Graham is claiming that there's something shady going on because they don't report donations under $200. They actually don't have to based on campaign finance laws, but they do anyway. Now, with regard to who these small dollar donors are, they actually later do have to disclose that information. According to The Hill, ActBlue, which reported collecting $2.4 billion in contributions from January 1st to 2019 through August 31st, is due to file its October monthly report with the FEC this week. Those reports will provide the names, addresses, hometowns, and employers of donors who give contributions of more than $1 and reveal to which candidates the gifts are earmarked. So there is quite a bit of transparency in this process, and for Lindsey Graham or Republicans to claim that there's something shady going on when it comes to small dollar donors, it's just one of the most ridiculous arguments I've ever heard. Again, they're not focused on massive corporations or super PACs. They're focused on ActBlue helping to, collect money from small dollar donors. And again, they're being incredibly transparent about where this money is coming from. Now, like I said, John, McConnell isn't the only one who's worried about small dollar donors. Senator John Cornyn, whose Democratic opponent, MJ Uygur, raised nearly twice as much as him in the third quarter, and he's also suspicious of ActBlue. He says a probe into the group's vast small donor networks to ascertain their legitimacy would be worthwhile. No, these are shameless people. These are unbelievable, shameless people. Like, corporations, they're people, okay? We don't look into that. They can donate as much as they want through super PACs. Those small dollar donors, those average Americans who are donating, yeah, let's investigate. That might be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And again, I'm glad that they're being very clear. It's not a renewed interest in doing something about campaign finance, which in the past, there have occasionally been Democrats and Republicans teaming up in that area. It's not that at all, it's ActBlue. And this is the second part of a sad story for Republicans. Part one was acknowledging that ActBlue is raising a ton of money for Democratic candidates, so they launched their own version, which I can't remember the name of because it's not that significant, even though I remember all the articles coming out when it was launched, that this is gonna revolutionize everything. I guess it hasn't, because now they're lashing out at ActBlue. They wanted to beat it at its own game, apparently they couldn't do that.
And then one final statement from one other Republican senator, Senator Ron Johnson, who says, quote, "I think the amount of money being spent on these campaigns is grotesque."
Yeah.
But funny enough, but you know what Ron Johnson is talking about. He's not talking about the donors who helped to fund his campaign. He's, again, focusing on these Democratic challengers. I mean, Republicans in the Senate right now are worried that they're gonna lose control of the Senate. I hope it happens. But that's really what this is all about. They never made a big deal about campaign donations in the past. And then one odd twist to this story involves Mitch McConnell, who's like, no, I'm an awful person and I love money in politics. So shout out to money in politics. So here's what he said. This is hilarious. Let me give a shout out to the Democrats The lion's share of my money that's flooding into campaigns is coming from small donors. I don't believe him. I can give you an example. In my own campaign, we've got over 700,000 donors and the average contribution is about $35. So Mitch McConnell basically telling Democrats, no, I'll fight you on everything except money in politics. When it comes to money in politics, I got your back. I want to protect it. It's pretty amazing.
God, let's just actually do something about it. Then you don't have to worry about it. But they don't want that. A lot of them got in because the advantage they had was that they're better fundraisers than the people that they beat, and they want to maintain that advantage, and that's what they're comfortable doing all day, is raising money. If you weren't doing that, you'd have to fill your days with, I don't know, like legislation or something, and not many of them are interested in that.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.